right hand, to the right.
I'm Captain Dan Burnick, your Master of Ceremonies this evening, and on behalf of the Armed Forces Committee of Worcester County, welcome and thank you for attending our 90th annual dinner. Please browse at your convenience the programs found at your tables for information about our ad sponsors and recipients and tonight's program details. Our thanks to Mr. Bill Moore for the production of this booklet. Also, a special thanks go to the Assabet Valley Regional Technical High School Marine Corps JROTC for providing our honor guard this evening, the Montechusett Regional Vocational Technical School Marine Corps JROTC for providing our color guard, and finally, the Quabbin Navy JROTC unit from Barre, Mass. For providing a special POW MIA tribute. And finally, thanks to our DJ, Glenn Kinney, for providing our music this evening. Honor guard, post.
Forward, march. Ready, face.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the arrival of the official party. President of the Armed Forces Committee of Worcester County, Major Christopher Robbins, and his wife, Terry.
Present. Sword. Order. Sword.
First Sergeant Paul A. Journet, Marine Corps instructor, Montechusett Regional Vocational Technical School, and his wife, Celia.
Present. Sword. Order. Sword.
Mr. William J. Adams and his wife, Catherine.
Present. Sword. Order. Sword.
Colonel Burton C. Quist, United States Marine Corps, retired, and his wife, Kathy.
Present. Sword. Order. Sword.
Honor guard, post.
Carry. Sword.
March on the colors.
Color guard. Halt.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Cut.
ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to break protocol just a bit here. Please be seated. Color guard remain in place. Every morning in classrooms across the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and the United States, students are asked to stand and pledge their allegiance to their flag and the country it represents. The same country that guarantees their inalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It is a pledge that the Armed Forces Committee of Worcester County begins every meeting with. It's a pledge we as citizens all too often take for granted. In a few moments, I'm going to reenact a piece of 1960s black and white television, a black and white television show called The Red Skelton Hour. I watched it at the knee of my father, and I bet many of you did as well. It was a comedy show, and the star, Red Skelton, was hilarious. But he had a serious, patriotic side, which he brought into American homes frequently. He came on stage this one evening, dressed in his baggy clothing, wearing a goofy-looking hat, and after saying good evening, in his own inimitable way of speaking, told the country this story from his childhood. When I was a small boy in Vincennes, Indiana, I heard, I think, one of the most outstanding speeches I ever heard in my life. I think it compares with the Sermon on the Mount, Lincoln's Gettysburg Address, and Socrates' speech to the students. We had just finished reciting the Pledge of Allegiance, and he, Mr. Laswell, the principal of Vincennes High School, called us all together. And he says, boys and girls, I've been listening to you recite the Pledge of Allegiance all semester, and it seems that it has become monotonous to you. Or could it be that you do not understand the meaning of each word? If I may, I would like to recite the pledge and give you a definition for each word. I, me, an individual, a committee of one, pledge, dedicate all my worldly good to give without self-pity. Allegiance, my love and devotion. To the flag, our standard old glory, a symbol of freedom, and wherever she waves there is respect, because your loyalty has given her a dignity that shouts, freedom is everybody's job. Of the united, that means that we have all come together, states, individual communities that have united into 48 great states, 48 individual communities with pride and dignity and purpose, all divided by imaginary boundaries, yet united to a common cause, and that's love of country, of America. And to the Republic, a sovereign state in which power is invested into the representatives chosen by the people to govern. And the government is the people, and it's from the people to the leaders, not from the leaders to the people, for which it stands. One nation, meaning so blessed by God, indivisible, incapable of being divided, with liberty, which is freedom, the right of one to live his own life without fears, threats, or any sort of retaliation, and justice, the principle and qualities of dealing fairly with others, for all, which means, ladies and gentlemen, it's as much your country as it is mine. He goes on and says, since I was a small boy, 2 states have been added to our country, Hawaii and Alaska. And 2 words have been added to the Pledge of Allegiance, under God. Wouldn't it be a pity if someone said, that is a prayer, and that be eliminated from our schools as well? Ladies and gentlemen, with red skeletons reminded to us all, please rise again and join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance, and then remain standing for our national anthem. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ready, cut.
Retire the colors.
Counter march. March. Color guard. Halt. Order. Colors. Forward. March. Color guard.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Ah, the Marines, those blasted gyrenes, those seagoing bellhops, those brass-buttoned queens. Oh, they pat their own back, write stories in reams, all the praise of themselves, the U.S. Marines. Those publicity fiends, they built all the forests, turned on all the streams, discontent with the earth, they say heaven's scenes, are guarded by, you guess right, U.S. Marines. The moon never beams except when the Marines give it permission to turn on its gleams. And the tide never rises, the wind never screams, unless authorized by the U.S. Marines. The Marines in their khakis and greens, their pretty blue panties, red stripes down their seams. They have thought all the thoughts, dreamed all the dreams, singing the song of myself, the U.S. Marines. That was written by a sailor supported. Good evening once again, and welcome to the 90th Annual Dinner of the Armed Forces Committee of Worcester County in celebration this year of the United States Marine Corps. Before we get started, it wasn't lost on me when I was coming here today, actually when I came here the very first time about 6 months ago, that if you came from the center of Holden, you crossed a bridge. You crossed the Purple Heart Bridge. And it's daylight. I hope you noticed it when you got here. And so I feel that it's necessary, it's important, that we ask all those members that are here tonight who have earned that Purple Heart for our country to please stand. Like all services, the Marine Corps has specific missions, core values, and creeds. I was reading about the Corps the other night and came across a discussion about why Marines dislike the Navy. In case this is a Navy uniform, I have one tonight. I found this very interesting since the Marine Corps is in the Department of the Navy, and the Navy and Marine Corps share the same core values of honor, courage, and commitment. And I'm proud to say that. We share the same budget. Now the Marines will tell you that they only get one plug nickel, 5 cents out of every dollar allotted to the Department of the Navy. This is simply not true. For I worked in the Pentagon and I ran that part of that budget, and I determined, using my pencil, it was about 17 cents to the dollar. Fair enough. But when you think about it though, maybe a nickel is really all they need, especially when you hear the Marine Rifleman's Creed. And tonight, that Rifleman's Creed is being read. It's going to be read by Cadet First Lieutenant Stephen Garrett. Stephen.
This is my rifle. There are many like it, but this one is mine. My rifle is my best friend. It is my life. I must master it as I must master my life. My rifle, without me, is useless. Without my rifle, I am useless. I must fire my rifle true. I must shoot straighter than my enemy who is trying to kill me. I must shoot him before he shoots me. I will. My rifle and myself know that what counts in this war is not the rounds we fire, the noise of our burst, nor the smoke we make. We know that it's the hits that count. We will hit. My rifle is human, even as I, because it is my life. Thus I will learn it as a brother. I will learn its weakness, its strength, its parts, its accessories, its sights, and its barrels. I will ever guard it against the ravages of weather and damage, as I will ever guard my legs, my arms, my eyes, and my heart against damage. I will keep my rifle clean and ready. We will become part of each other. We will. Before God, I swear this creed. My rifle and myself are the defenders of my country. We are masters of our enemy. We are saviors of my life. So be it until victory is America's and there is no enemy but peace.
Thank you, Cadet Garrett. I direct your attention to the table 8 paces in front of the podium here. Tonight we are compelled to recognize and remember those who cannot be with us, but who will always remain with us in heart and soul. Our servicemen, knock on that door for me back there. Knock on that door for me. Our servicemen and women who are prisoners of war and those who remain missing in action from all wars. These are the servicemen and women that we must never forget for their sacrifice. While the fate of others, those missing in action, continues to greatly concern us, and so we must continue to press for full accountability, especially in Korea and Vietnam. Tonight, Navy ROTC cadets from Quabbin Regional High School will perform a POW MIA tribute that honors our comrades and asks us to reflect on their sacrifice.
We remember them. At the rising sun and at its going down, we remember them. At the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, we remember them.
Represents the purity of their response to our country's call to arms.
At the opening of the buds and in the rebirth of spring, we remember them.
The empty chair depicts an unknown face, representing a specific soldier, sailor, marine, airman, or coast guardsman, but all who are not here with us.
At the blueness of the skies and in the warmth of summer, we remember them.
The table itself is round to show that our concern for them is never ending.
At the rustling of the leaves and in the beauty of autumn, we remember them.
The Bible represents faith in a higher power and the pledge to our country, founded as one nation under God.
At the beginning of the year and when it ends, we remember them.
symbolizing their wounds is pinned to the napkin.
As long as we live, they too will live, for they are now a part of us as we remember them.
The single red rose reminds us of their families and loved ones. The red ribbon represents the love of our country, which inspired them to answer our nation's call. The yellow candle and its yellow ribbon symbolize the everlasting hope for a joyous reunion with those yet unaccounted for. The slice of lemon on the bread plate reminds us of their bitter fate.
When we have decisions that are difficult to make, we remember them.
The salt being spread upon the bread plate represents the tears of their families.
When we have achievements that are based on theirs, we remember them.
The wine glass, turned upside down, reminds us that our distinguished comrades could not be with us to join the toast or join in the festivities of the evening.
For as long as we live, they too will live, for they are now part of us as we remember them. We remember them.
Thank you, cadets, for reminding us of the sacrifice of those who cannot be with us tonight. Our custom is to celebrate a different service every year, and while we honor the United States Marine Corps tonight, we also honor all our service members on active duty in the reserves and in the National Guard that are serving from the harbors, bases, and airfields of the United States to the far reaches of the globe in Europe, Southwest Asia, Africa, the Far East, and Korea, even Antarctica, all serving in our fight for freedom against terrorism in support of the principles and ideals upon which this nation was founded, originating in the Declaration of Independence and immortalized in our Constitution. It is now my pleasure to call on the dais the President of the Armed Forces of Worcester County, Major Christopher Robbins.
Good evening. It's a pleasure to be with you and have this unique opportunity to honor and thank the brave men and women who have served and serve our great country. Key to the success of our military are the spouses, families, and friends that support them. In essence, each of you here tonight represents the most valuable asset of our nation's defense. In time of war and peace, it is your love, devotion, commitment, and unwavering support that has enabled our sailors, soldiers, Marines, airmen, and women to defend our nation, and when the call is made to advance and defeat the enemy who seek to destroy our country. I cannot thank you enough. As for the cadets who have joined their high school, junior, or college ROTC program that are with us this evening, we are proud of your taking that first step to serve your community and nation. We will be proud to follow where you lead. Then let us never forget those who made the ultimate sacrifice and who gave their lives so that all of us can live free. It is very appropriate that at the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will always remember them. This evening is one of celebration to connect with dear friends, meet new ones, welcome our honored guests, and share laughter and throughout our 90th annual dinner. Thank you for being with us, and God bless you all.
Another microphone bites the dust. Tonight's invocation will be offered by Reverend George Holden. As you listen to the invocation, please keep in your thoughts and prayers the nearly 160 men and women from Massachusetts who have lost their lives in service to our nation during the War on Terror, the Gold Star families who struggle daily with their loss, and the Blue Star families with service members presently serving in harm's way. Also, please keep in mind those who have returned and suffer the effects of the nightmare that is war. Reverend Holden.
If able, please stand for the invocation. Dear God, we thank you for bringing us here this evening to honor those who are serving and those who have served. Today we give special recognition to the United States Marine Corps, who have answered the call of liberty on countless occasions. Tonight we give enduring thanks to those from all branches of our armed forces who have made the supreme sacrifices. All the sacrifices made by our men and women of the armed forces are a constant reminder that freedom is not free. We ask again today, as we have asked in the past, that you enlighten the leaders of our nation and the world, that where there is war, they work toward a just and lasting peace. So we commend to your care and keeping all the men and women of our armed forces at home and abroad, and our MIAs and POWs, whose fate we may never know. And we ask your blessing for the families of those who serve, because they also bear heavy burdens of service to our nation. And be with those who suffer ongoing pain from wounds of both body and mind. Comfort this nation as we remember those we have lost. Shine your light on those whose only companion is darkness. And teach us all so to number our days that we may apply our hearts to your wisdom. We come to you now as a humble people, unsure of many things, and knowing that our diversity teaches us to call you by many names. But one thing is sure, one thing is certain. You are our God, and we are your people. All glory to you now and forevermore. Amen. Please be seated.
Thank you, George. Before we dine this evening, I think we need another Marine vignette. Marines are about the most peculiar breed of human beings I have ever witnessed. They treat their servant, who's talking over there? A future Marine. They treat their service as if it were some kind of cult, plastering their emblem on almost everything they own, making themselves look like insane fanatics with haircuts ungentlemanly short, worshiping their commandant almost as if he were a god, and making weird animal noises like a band of savages. On cue now, come on. They will fight like rabid dogs at the drop of a hat just for the sake of a little action, and are the cockiest SOBs I've ever known. Most have the foulest mouths and drink well beyond a man's normal limits, but their high spirits and sense of brotherhood set them apart. And generally speaking, the United States Marine Corps, the United States Marines I have come in contact with are the most professional soldiers and the finest men and women I have had the pleasure to meet. That was written by an anonymous Canadian citizen in 1969.
Certainly not by a sailor.
Not written by a sailor, that's correct. Dinner is now served, ladies and gentlemen. If during the dinner you run out of dinner conversation and the urge of music strikes you, please take advantage of the opportunity to dance to the music of Glenn Kinney. Dinner is now served. Statue action, she's carrying the dress to the building. Thank you very much, ladies. I also would like to thank Representative Jim McGovern for his generosity for purchasing a table so others may attend this evening. And a special thanks to Representative Kimberly Ferguson, Carolyn Dykma, Ann Goby, and Councilman Bergman, Morris Bergman from Worcester for joining us this evening. If you could please stand so we can just see where you're at and give you a round of applause, please. We thank you for coming and for joining us this evening and showing your support for our veterans at the state and city level. It's largely due to your efforts and others in our legislature that veterans and their families are treated in the manner which they should be, which they must be, treated in gratitude for their service and sacrifice. So thank you for being here with us tonight. As is our military custom, it is fitting and proper to offer a toast, a custom that predates the Caesars. Therefore, please charge your glasses and rise for this evening's toast, please. Mr. Chris Robbins, nice and loud, please.
I'd like to propose a toast to the Commander-in-Chief of the United States of America.
To the Commander-in-Chief. Richard Belanger.
I would like to propose a toast to the United States Army.
To the United States Army. Mr. Robert Mulhern.
I'd like to propose a toast to the United States Marine Corps.
Marine Corps. Mr. George Vogel.
I would like to propose a toast to the United States Navy.
To the United States Navy. Mr. Paul Verdini.
I'd like to propose a toast to the United States Air Force.
To the Air Force. Miss D. Dively.
I would like to propose a toast to the United States Coast Guard.
To the Coast Guard. Mr. Dennis Christo.
I would like to propose a toast to our forward deployed forces and to their families awaiting their safe return.
Beloved forces and their families. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please be seated. In addition to honoring an outstanding non-commissioned officer and award of merit recipient each year, the committee honors one midshipman or cadet from each of the college ROTC units, the Army and Air Force at WPI, and the Navy at College of the Holy Cross. Their names are listed in the program you have before you. There are 7 local high schools that host junior ROTC programs with the mission of developing the next generation of outstanding citizens who put service before self, whether joining the service or not. Each unit selects a cadet for the Armed Forces Committee of Worcester County Award, bestowed in recognition of leadership, citizenship, and academics. They have received their awards at ceremonies conducted or to be conducted at their schools soon. Those with us this evening, please stand when I call your name. Cadet James Nobolini from Quabbin Regional High School, Navy JROTC. Remain standing. Cadet Caitlin Zindel, Oxford High School, Navy JROTC. Cadet David Forrest, Massachusetts Regional Vocational Technical School, Marine JROTC. Not here? And finally, Cadet Michael Facile, Assabet Valley High School, Marine JROTC. Very good. Thank you. These young men and women are the future of our country. Thank you one and thank you all for your patriotism, your leadership, your positive example and service to your school and your community. Well done. You can be seated. Thank you. In 1971, the Armed Forces Committee started recognizing an outstanding non-commissioned officer. You'll see in your program a lineup of outstanding NCOs who have earned this distinction over the past 46 years. If you are a previous recipient of this award and you're here tonight, please stand so we can recognize you. That would be Dick Belanger and Joe Gendusa. The Armed Forces Committee of Worcester County selects each year an outstanding non-commissioned officer who has made a substantial contribution to the community, the armed forces, and/or veterans through exemplary leadership, achievement, and service. Sometimes our outstanding NCO comes from active duty, and sometimes we don't have to look any further than the several junior ROTC units across the county and Central Mass. These men and women spend 20 to 30 years on active duty, retire, I have written down here quotation figures, they retire and take on a job that demands their total focus and countless hours educating, training, counseling, mentoring, and yes, even a little raising of our community's children. At Monty Tech in Fitchburg, that responsibility is willingly, enthusiastically, and inextricably taken on by tonight's recipient, First Sergeant Paul Journet, United States Marine. You may read his bio and track his career of service to the Corps in your program. A career that spanned 24 years and provided him with all the skills you need to be a successful educator in today's schools. A graduate of Paris Island, he returned there as a drill instructor and was a company first sergeant at Officer Academy School. Yep, if I was about 14 or 15 years old, and I saw this imposing DI coming down the hall, I think I might just drop and give him 20 push-ups without him even asking me to do that. And I'd probably stay down there and do another 10 more just for fun. Seriously, First Sergeant has taken a once struggling program before his arrival and brought it to local, state, and national prominence. Under his leadership, the Monty Tech cadets are extremely active in their local community and their school, always demonstrating the highest ideals of citizenship, demonstrating for all the school goodness of life, of living a life with the Marine Corps values of honor, courage, and commitment. I think one of the facets of this program that makes him and his cadets unique is the commitment to the proper use of the cyber environment. Its proper use, its proper defense, and most importantly, its cybersecurity. Every year, his unit participates in a national competition called Cyber Patriot. And every year, his cadets and teams finish at the highest levels among hundreds of participants. He emphasizes the importance of being present in body and mind at school every day, the importance of academic excellence, graduation, self and team discipline. In other words, setting the example for the entire school, just like he did for 24 years on active duty. For the past several years, he has been committed to needs as the chairman of the Service Dogs for Veterans Committee, a service so desperately needed by many returning service members. This individual teaches his cadets that giving back and paying it forward should be constants in our lives by annually contributing countless hours to the Salvation Army and Toys for Tots. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege to call forward First Sergeant Paul Genet to receive the Armed Forces Committee of Worcester County Outstanding NCO of the Year Award. And I would ask Chris Robbins to please join him to present the award. It's my pleasure now to call to the podium Councilman Morris Bergman.
Now, Paul, we've never met, right? We have not. Okay. I want everybody to think anything is staged here, but on behalf of the City Council and the Mayor of the City of Worcester, who was unable to be here tonight, I'd like to read a declaration presentation and then give Paul something from the City of Worcester as a small token of our appreciation and recognition of the words you receive and the work that you do. So the lighting's a little dim, but bear with me. Dear Paul A. Journet, it is my pleasure to present you with the key to the City of Worcester at the 90th Annual Armed Forces Committee of Worcester County Dinner. The key is offered in recognition of your being awarded the Outstanding Non-Commissioned Officer Award. We are grateful for your nearly 25 years of service to the United States Marine Corps. Over the course of your decorated career, you've served in combat experiences in Lebanon, Grenada, and the Persian Gulf. Since your retirement, you've given back through your work with the National Educational for Assistance Dog Service, an organization that trains and provides service dogs for the deaf and the disabled. Your continued work with the Junior Reserve Officer Training Corps in Fitchburg shows your understanding that leadership and dedication is a gift that needs to be shared with the next generation of servicemen and women. Mayor Michael J. O'Hara began the Key to the City program in 1924 and designed an intricate and beautiful key. I am proud to be able to recreate the key in its original design and with the assistance from everyone involved at the Machine Technology program at Worcester Technical High School, Worcester Voc, and the Worcester Historical Museum. On behalf of the City of Worcester, I congratulate and thank you for not only your dedication to our servicemen and women, but to our nation as well. And we're going to present Paul with the key to the City of Worcester. And I would just tell you that as a member of the City Council and also as committee chair of the Veterans Affairs Committee of the City of Worcester, I'm honored to give it to you. If you find the door that it opens, you got to tell us because no one's been able to find the door that it opens. Well, I do know one thing though, but if you find behind that door, it's probably not going to be too pretty. This key actually was designed by Worcester Vocational High School students, and as I said earlier, it's an exact replica of the design that was used after the turn of the last century. We give these keys out sparingly, so guard it well. There is one on eBay right now going back to the 1950s. I don't know what it's going to go for, but most people keep this in their possession for their lifetime, so congratulations.
On behalf of the Commonwealth, it's my pleasure to call to the podium State Representative Kimberly Ferguson and Ann Golden.
Hello, how are you? Good evening, everyone. I will try to be brief, but this is a very important occasion, obviously. First of all, I just want to thank everyone who helped put this event on tonight. It certainly is an amazing event, and we are both very happy to be here, as well as our colleague, Representative Dykema. And I just want you to know that we certainly keep all of you in our hearts and minds every single day, and thank you all for your service and what you do and have done for us in our country. So, First Sergeant Paul Journet, it is a pleasure to see you tonight, and I have to tell you that our paths have crossed many times already. It is an honor to be here to recognize your receipt of the Armed Forces Committee Outstanding Non-Commissioner Officer Award, but we also work with needs together on several occasions, and I just found out through one of your cadets, Cadet Murnane, that your group today won the truck pull, I believe, for the needs organization. So they had quite a competition today for needs. The cadets were successful in having the best time. So not only did they win the whole competition, they certainly did something for a very worthy cause, and I'm quite proud of them as well. So congratulations on that. So it is my honor today to present you with a citation from the House of Representatives in recognition of your award. It's on behalf of all of us in the House, and I just want to say thank you for all you've done, and congratulations.
Well, congratulations. This is great. Yeah. It's so nice, especially to see so many of the students. I know that Captain Brennick, he's tough, isn't he? Yeah, they're afraid to say anything now. I know how he is over in Quabbin. I appreciate being invited here this evening. I have the good fortune of serving as the Senate Vice Chair of the Veterans Committee, and it's a great opportunity to work with so many different groups. And I'm going to tell you one Marine story I have, and probably someone that some of you know. If you were to go into Brookfield and go down Route 148, going south, you would see a little bench on the side looking over the Quabog River, and it's in memory of Joe Murray. I don't know if anyone knew Joe. Anyone know Joe Murray? Joe was a Marine. He served in World War II, and he was in the Battle of Iwo Jima. And for years, his license plate was Iwo. But he was a 5th grade teacher in Warren. And when you ever see any of the students, the first thing that Joe taught those students was Marine Corps hymn. The kids would say, he would sing it, make the kids sing it at the beginning of class every single day. The kids didn't learn much algebra, but they know the Marine Corps hymn. So on behalf of the State Senate, our friends in the legislature, we just want to say a big thank you to you for all that you have done and all that you continue to do. We appreciate it.
My apologies for referring to you as a representative man. I'll give you 20 push-ups. The first time will tell me when. Yes. It's my pleasure now to turn up to the podium to First Sergeant Paul Journet.
There's nothing that I do or anything that I've done in the past that isn't directed for me to do, having earned the title Marine. To do anything less would be to tarnish something that I hold so near and dear inside my heart. I just couldn't. The example I set for my students, the example that has been set for me by countless Marines that have come before me. Leaders that have always shown me the way. Had always been there when I needed help. Had always been willing to give me the simple encouragement, whether it was a kind word or a stiff foot, that was needed to accomplish a mission. I'm honored to be a part of this community. I'm honored to be recognized tonight. To have the job that I have today is a heritage of the Marine Corps continuing to spin in communities of people that may or may not go to Paris Island or San Diego or Quantico. But I know that of my students, there is a piece of all those leaders that came before me that is being given to them, and there is no greater gift than I can present to them. I thank you very much. Again, I'm truly honored, and that's a lot of stuff. Thank you very much.
In 1958, the Armed Forces Committee, since then, we have presented an award of merit to the individual voted by the committee as having first and foremost made a substantial contribution to the community by way of leadership and service. You can see from the list of past recipients listed in tonight's program that the selectees are an impressive and distinguished group of individuals. Those recipients in attendance tonight, please stand. Mr. William Adams has led a distinguished life and career serving his country in innumerable ways. First, let me say that he started his career as a Marine private and ended his career as a firefighting captain. We have a Seaman to Admiral program in the Navy. That's pretty close. That's very good. His first action as a young Marine in the mid-1960s was the United States interdiction in the Dominican Republic to restore order to a country in political and violent turmoil. For his actions, he was promoted to Lance Corporal and then sent to Vietnam. Congratulations, I guess. Sent to Vietnam, where once again he saw immediate action at July during an amphibious landing and numerous skirmishes where Bill assumed some of the more exposed positions. He did not leave Vietnam unscathed, as he was seriously wounded and received a Purple Heart, but in the process rescued many a downed Marine. Bill's brother George lost his life in Vietnam, and so when Bill returned, he set out to ensure a permanent memorial to George by raising thousands of dollars. Bill was not finished honoring his brothers in arms, however. In 1969, he partnered with Mr. Frank Carroll, a member of this committee, in creating a living memorial to the heroes of Central Massachusetts by raising money to build a still standing hospital in Central Vietnam Highlands. I spoke to Mr. Carroll about Mr. Bill Adams just the other day, 3 weeks ago, and this is what he said. He said, "Bill is a beautiful man, and that hospital could not have been built without his tireless work in raising awareness and money for that effort." Mr. Carroll was effusive with praise for Bill. And like so many veterans, whether in service for 4 years or 30 years, they never seem to ever lose that service to country and community. They never lose that mindset, and Bill is no different. For soon after his discharge, he joined the fire department, and now instead of running into firefights, he was running into fires engulfing buildings. Not rescuing Marines anymore, but rescuing those unfortunates trapped in burning buildings. And it was in this career he rose to captain. His contributions to our nation and Worcester have had an influential and far-reaching impact, and for that, Mr. Adams, we thank you. For your outstanding service to our nation and community, we are deeply honored to present this prestigious award, of merit, to Mr. William J. Adams. Bill, will you join us here at the podium, please, Mr. Robbins? Mr. Bergman, again, please.
So the suspense might be a little less now as to what's in that box. But nevertheless, let me read to you what the City of Worcester, through our mayor and city council, wishes to present to you. There's a letter that goes along with the contents of that box, and it reads as follows. From the mayor of the City of Worcester, which I have the honor to represent today, he expresses his congratulations and his apologies for not being able to be here himself today. It says, "Dear William J. Adams, it is my pleasure to present you with the key to the City of Worcester at the 90th Annual Armed Forces Committee of Worcester County Dinner. This key is offered in recognition of your receipt of the Award of Merit. Your combat service as a United States Marine in the Dominican Republic as well as in Vietnam serves as an example in selflessness and leadership. Your dedication to the memory of your fallen brother George Francis Adams reminds us all of the debt we owe our family. For working to build a hospital in Vietnam after you returned home, you showed us the meaning of grace and compassion. And with your service as a captain of the Worcester Fire Department, you earn the thanks of a grateful city. For your exemplary service as U.S. Marine, a Worcester firefighter, and your city, it is only right and fitting that we honor you here today. Mayor Michael J. O'Hara began the Key to the City program in 1924 and designed an intricate and beautiful key. I am proud to have been able to recreate his original design with the assistance of everybody from the Machine Technology program at the Worcester Technical High School, Worcester Vogue, and the Worcester Historical Museum. On behalf of the City of Worcester, I congratulate and thank you, not only for your dedicated service to our servicemen and women, but to our nation as well. And if I could have that, in here lies a key to the City of Worcester. And just know that key's not given to very many people. You have to be special, so congratulations.
Almost. Senator Gopi, Representative Ferguson.
Mr. Adams, congratulations, well deserved, and you obviously take to heart about being our brother's keeper and coming back and what you did for your own brother, and I think that says an awful lot about you as a person. We'll get this down. This is unchoreographed right now. But what you see so much is that people who come back from the service continue to give and give and give. My dad was a World War II veteran, served in the Seas and in the South Pacific, and came back, and like so many did, in World War II, in Korea, Vietnam, and all over the war since, to come back and be a part of their community. And for the work that you did for the City of Worcester, being a firefighter, I can tell you, because I have to tell quick stories here. Being from Spencer, now you might not believe this, but my uncle was on the fire department in the 1950s in Spencer. They had two departments, a Protestant department and a Catholic department. And that is no lie, that's the truth. And you think how much the fire service has changed. By the time that my brothers became on the fire department, there was one department, and everything is mutual aid. That you work and you have someone's back. And that's exactly, for the Marines, for those in the military, that's what you're taught to do. And you continue with that, and I really appreciate all that you've done. I wish I had met you even before tonight. So congratulations on behalf of the state Senate. Very happy to present you with this on behalf of the entire state Senate and the 6.5 million people that live in the state of Massachusetts. Congratulations.
This evening and to provide you with a citation in recognition of your receipt of the Award of Merit for your tireless dedication to the Worcester community and exemplary service to our country. And, we say things like this, but it is amazing to see that truly great people walk among us every single day. And, there are things that we don't know about our brothers and sisters that are here with us, that they just lead by example and do wonderful things without any recognition or just doing it because it's the right thing to do. And just between your service to our country, to the fire services, fire department, and all the wonderful things that you've done between the hospital and the memorial to your brother. And as a kid who grew up in Times Square, I can tell you exactly where that memorial is because I have been there. So thank you again. I know it's only two simple words, thank you, but I really do appreciate, as does the legislature, all the things that you have done. So this is a very well-deserved award. Thank you.
It says, the United States of America to all who shall see these presents greeting. This is to certify that the President of the United States of America has awarded the Purple Heart, established by General George Washington at Newburgh, New York, August 7th, 1782, to Sergeant William J. Adams, U.S. Marine Corps. I've heard about the Purple Heart. I know people that have received it. I've never seen a certificate. We got this framed for you so that you could hang it and get it out of the closet, out of the attic, wherever it was, because you sure do deserve this. I'll put it right back down here for you, guys. Take these from you.
Well, first of all, I want to thank everybody for coming. I want to thank Chris and Paul Matheny, and all the members of the committee here. And I just want to relate a few things. I'll make it short. It's funny how things happen, but I was planning actually to stay in the Marine Corps. And when my brother was killed, that changed everything. So I had to go home and got discharged with a hardship out of the service. But I really loved the Marine Corps. I loved the dress blues. That's what probably got me in there. But anyways, just want to relate that when I was wounded in action, it was March 18th, 1966. My brother was killed the same day, March 18th, 1968. Now you can imagine my mother, when I got wounded, the Marine Corps would come to your house in the car and give you the telegram saying I was wounded in action. 2 years later, they come again, and my sister was with my mother at the time, and she said, this isn't going to be good. And that's when my brother was killed. But I got out of the Marine Corps, and I went on the fire department, and I studied. I went to school. I got my Bachelor of Science degree at Worcester State, thanks to the VA and the veterans. And I retired from the fire department after 33 years of service. I made captain. And but the Marine Corps is a very great branch. It's taught me a lot of things. It taught me how to make quick decisions, and it really helped me out through life. I just want to thank everybody for coming here, and I feel very humble that I got this award. Thank you very much.
What these two gentlemen are receiving are they both have the Marine Corps emblem on it, and 2017, and their name is on there. And it's in a box that was made by one of our members, Dick Belanger back there, who's an exceptional woodworking guy, and with a little brass plate on there that I can't read because there's not enough light right now. I'll give that to you as well. This evening, it's my pleasure to introduce an exceptional individual who I think can be described as a Marine's Marine. He was born in a Marine family, as his dad landed at Guadalcanal. He married Kathy, the daughter also of a Marine, who just happened to be assaulting Guadalcanal at the same time as the Colonel's father. Colonel Quist is, of course, a distinguished Marine and a Vietnam combat veteran, and the father, and by the way, Kathy's the mother, of two Marines who are presently on active duty. Eric, a major who was severely wounded in Afghanistan after 2 deployments to Iraq, and Carl, a captain in the Corps. I invite you to read the rest of the Colonel Quist's bio in your program, but if you really want to know how special and accomplished the Colonel and his wife, Kathy, are, go online and Google his son, Eric, and read his inspirational and heroic story of strength and survival. That Marine comes from good stock. That good stock is sitting right here. Colonel, it's an honor to have you and Kathy here this evening, representing the Marine Corps and representing what it means to put service and sacrifice before self. Ladies and gentlemen, Colonel Burton Quist and his wife, Kathy.
Gotten so I'm afraid to turn my back on. This is a little daunting. these awards and commendations from the legislature and city council. I was going to say I'm honored to be here. I'm honored to be in the presence of these awardees. Kathy and I particularly appreciate the invitation to join you tonight. We've been looking forward to this. It's great to see so many Marines here. And I particularly recognize the red jackets. The William R. Rich Higgins detachment in Newport, Rhode Island. Marines, can I get an hoorah? Hoorah! There you go. I wanted to take a few minutes tonight to tell a few stories. Just a couple. What we in the Marine Corps call sea stories. Every service has similar stories, and maybe some of these may sound familiar to you. Maybe they may be humorous. Maybe it's just what my dad used to call freight train information. That's what he called the little trivia things you needed to have on the tips of your fingers in case somebody should jump off a passing freight train and ask. A little background. The Continental Congress on the 10th of November, 1775, resolved that there should be 2 battalions of Marines raised for service with the Navy and shore. That day, the 10th of November, is considered to be the birthday of the Marine Corps. Marines never forget that. If they happen to forget it, we go back to boot camp, get the DI, and remove his Smokey Bear hat forever. The other thing that Marines tend not to forget is that the Marine Corps' first recruiting station was in a Philadelphia watering hole called Tun Tavern. Now, with that kind of as background, I want to tell a story about Marines in the Revolutionary War. Just as the Continental Congress had envisioned, Marines were with John Paul Jones as he sailed against the British Navy. Their mission, 1, maintain good order and discipline aboard the ships. 2, man the fighting tops, these platforms that were designed for Marines to stand up there and shoot enemy gunners and officers as soon as they came into view. Well, on the 23rd of September of 1779, in the North Sea, the British ship HMS Serapis, 50 guns, was escorting a convoy. When came into view, the barely seaworthy ship Bonhomme Richard, 40 guns, John Paul Jones commanded. The Britisher immediately hailed the American ship and demanded surrender. With that, the fight was on. And presently, the ships were at pistol and sword range and tangled together in broken rigging. The decks covered with rigging and debris and bodies and covered with smoke, black powder smoke that nearly obscured the decks. The Marines were in the fighting tops doing what they were trained to do. when all of a sudden, from all the smoke down there, comes this cry, "I have not yet begun to fight." At which point, the irreverent gunny elbows the Marine next to him and says, "See, I told you. There's always that 10% never gets the word." This next story may be a little more familiar, at least as we go on it will become familiar, because it led to the second line in the Marines' hymn. In the period after the American Revolution, American merchant shipping in the Eastern Atlantic and the Mediterranean was being attacked by pirates sent out from the Barbary States. Barbary States were Morocco, Algeria, and Tripoli, what we now call Libya. These pirates would seize the ships, steal the cargo, and slave the prisoners until the prisoners were either dead or were lucky enough to get ransom. Now, to stop this piracy, the rulers of those countries demanded tribute, bribes. You pay us. In fact, at one point, they demanded a complete ship, completely outfitted with cannons and everything. Well, the fledgling republic didn't have the money to support that, particularly because every year what happened to the bribe? It increased. So Thomas Jefferson decided that he was going to end this practice, and he dispatched his new frigate navy to the Mediterranean. Didn't have a lot of success. For one thing, big Mediterranean Ocean, very small fleet. Not a lot different than the problems the U.S. Navy faces today. In fact, one of those precious new frigates, the Philadelphia, ran aground in Tripoli Harbor, was captured by the Tripolitans, and Stephen Decatur had to lead a raid in to burn it, lest it be turned around and used against us. Running out of options, Jefferson decided to buy into a plan that was offered to him by his consul in Tunis, one William Eaton. William Eaton was a Massachusetts guy. He came from Brimfield. He went to Dartmouth College. He was a captain in the Continental Army. And this was his scheme. The ruler of Tripoli was a scumbag by the name of Yusuf Karamanli. Karamanli had run his brother out of Tripoli because his brother was the rightful holder of the throne. He evicted his brother and sent him into exile in Egypt. So Eaton's plan was the U.S. will help the brother, Hemet, restore him to the throne in return for Hemet's promise to end the piracy. Jefferson bought off on the plan. 6th of March, 1805, William Eaton, along with 10 Americans and 400 mercenaries, mostly Greeks and Turks, if you can imagine an army made up combined of Greeks and Turks. And they're going to march 500 miles from Alexandria, Egypt, to the fortress of Derna in Tripoli. They're going to seize the fortress where Yusuf, the usurper's army was, and install Hemet on the throne. Among the Americans was one Lieutenant Presley O'Bannon. Can you imagine what went through O'Bannon's mind when he got that set of orders? You want me to go where and do what? I thought I was supposed to be on ship. Well, the walk across North Africa was hot, it was dry, and it was dangerous. At one point, it was Presley O'Bannon and his 7 Marines with bayonets fixed, standing between the mutinous mercenaries and the supplies they needed to get them out of the desert and to Derna. Well, they made it to Derna. They successfully evicted the bad guys out of the fortress. Presley O'Bannon became the first man to raise the American flag over a fortress of the old world. And of course, we then got to the shores of Tripoli. Now, the rest of the story, as Paul Harvey used to say, the rest of the story. No sooner had Derna fallen than there arrived on the scene a guy from the State Department. His name was Tobias Lear. He came to claim victory. Why was he? He didn't even make the walk, let alone pull the trigger. How was he going to claim victory? Well, as soon as Derna had fallen, he negotiated a deal with Yusuf, the bad guy, in which Yusuf promised to end the piracy and release the prisoners, the crew of the Philadelphia, which he had held for years and years. If in return, the U.S. would do 2 things. Pay him $60,000, not a bad day's work in those days, and evacuate the Eaton O'Bannon army from the fortress at Derna. Once again, can you imagine? We did all the work, and here this striped pants guy from the State Department comes in. He's claiming the victory. He's probably going to put himself in for the Congressional Medal of Honor. Well, it's just one more episode to this, and I'll get off Eaton and O'Bannon. Many years later, I was sitting in a military history course that I was taking at William Eaton's alma mater. The professor was one Louis Morton. Morton was the Dean of American Military Historians, and he was also the lead historian for the U.S. Army's official history of World War II. I think I heard William Eaton and Presley O'Bannon doing flip-flops in their graves when I heard Morton say that this trek across North Africa and the attack on Derna was a case of never have so many people sung the praises of so few for having done so little. Okay, one last one, and I'll stop talking. How many of you have heard the term Semper Fi? Almost everybody, I suspect, has heard this term Semper Fi. It has become an honored greeting between Marines, symbol of camaraderie and a Marine history and war. Now, I will tell you that it wasn't always that way. When my father and Kathy's father were in the Marine Corps, Semper Fi was a term of derision. Semper Fidelis indicated that you were faithful to your buddies, you were faithful to your unit, you were faithful to the Marine Corps, you were faithful to the US of A. Semper Fi meant that you were faithful only to yourself. For the one-way guys, they were Semper Fi. As in, hey Joe, can I bump a smoke off you? Semper Fi, Mac, I got mine, you get yours. Or, I got mine, how you do? Well, what changed? Well, in the wake of the Beirut bombing, General P.X. Kelly, another Massachusetts guy, and the Commandant of the Marine Corps, he was walking through the ward in Bethesda Naval Hospital where the wounded Marines were. And one wounded Marine whose face was so bandaged that he couldn't talk handed the general a slip of paper upon which was written, "Semper Fi, sir." Well, the press picked this up and it, as we would say today, went viral. So now it's a very honored greeting among Marines. And that kind of proves an old Marine Corps adage, that any event, no matter how random or how happenstance, is sufficient to constitute a long-standing tradition. I'm going to tell one last story. I wasn't going to tell, but I'm going to tell one last story. Because it bears on this. Every year at the 10th of November, the Marine Corps celebrates a birthday. And that makes no difference where Marines are. If you're stateside or you're someplace where circumstances allow, there's going to be a big ball, a birthday cake, ceremony, cake is shared among Marines, so on. If you happen to be in a foxhole in some country no one ever heard of until the Marines went there, then you may be just sharing a Twinkie that you got from home with your buddies. But every year that birthday provides each and every Marine with an emblem injection. When you're retired, they're particularly important because those emblem injections become fewer and farther between. But I got one a couple of months ago that I thought that really struck me. I came out of a store on a cold, windy night. It was dark. I went to my car. I got in the car. I cranked it over and turned the lights on. And there underneath the windshield wiper, a little piece of paper flapping in the breeze. All right, I know what this is. Someone hit my car. I didn't see it in the dark, but someone hit the car and they left one of those, everyone thinks I'm leaving you my contact data, but notes. I got out, highly irritated. I picked up the note. I opened it up. On one side of the note, it said, Blue Diamond. Somebody want to tell us what Blue Diamond means?
1st Marine Division.
It's the emblem of the 1st Marine Division. And I had Blue Diamond sticker on the back of my car. In the middle was 1st Battalion, 5th Marines, and anybody here from 1st Battalion, 5th Marines? No. Well, and it had the battalion's motto, make peace or die. And on the other side of it, it said Semper Fi. And that was a hell of an emblem injection for this old Marine. Again, I want to thank you very much. This has been an emblem injection for me. It's been terribly rewarding to see all these blue and red uniforms here. So I thank you for what you do to keep the focus where it ought to be on our military and our veterans. And I lastly thank you again for having us.
Armed Forces Committee of Worcester County, I'd like to present you this gift with our emblem on it and the Marine Corps emblem on the other side. For another emblem injection, whatever you want. It depends upon what you put in the glass. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, as we bring this evening to a close, I think it's only fitting that I share another expression of what it means to be a United States Marine. I got this off a poster. It says, "Why am I a Marine?" Or why I am a Marine, I should say. I am a Marine because I'm willing to do the things you are not. I will fight against the odds. I will sacrifice. I will not be shackled by fear, insecurity, or doubt. I feel those emotions, but I drink them in and then I swallow them away to the blackness of hell. I am motivated by accomplishment, not pride. Pride consumes the weak and kills their heart from within. If I fall, I will get up. If I am beaten, I will return. I will never stop getting better. I will never quit, ever. See, I did go after you on that one. George Vogel will now offer the benediction. Please stand.
Let us remember as we leave this place tonight, and honor the Marine Corps and our awardees, that life is short. We do not have much time to gladden the hearts of those who make the way with us. To be swift, to be loved, make haste to be kind, and go from this place and serve the Lord. Amen. Thank you, George.
God bless America.
You may join in.
Land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the ocean, white with foam. God bless America, my home sweet home.
This concludes the formal portion of our evening. Please join us again next year as we celebrate the United States Air Force. May God bless you all. May God bless the United States Marine Corps. And have a nice evening. Thank you.